On a stormy night, the city of Greenwood was shrouded in thick darkness, only occasionally broken by lightning that briefly illuminated the deserted streets. The wind howled through the trees, making the leaves whisper dark secrets as the rain poured relentlessly, creating puddles on the sidewalks. Amidst this sinister atmosphere, a sense of tension hung in the air, as if something was about to happen. The houses were silent, with windows shut and lights off, while the few residents who ventured out battled the storm to reach their destinations. It was a night that promised extraordinary events. At the heart of this city was Lucas, a dedicated firefighter known for his bravery and determination. Lucas was a man of average height, with short brown hair and piercing green eyes that reflected his resolve. He lived in a small house near the fire station, always ready to respond to any emergency. His job was not just a profession but a true calling that he embraced with passion. Known for his ability to stay calm under pressure, Lucas had an impeccable reputation among his colleagues. On this stormy night, he was on duty, prepared to face any challenge that nature or fate might present. As Lucas prepared for another night of vigilance, a dog unexpectedly appeared at the fire station's door. It was Max, a golden retriever with an intelligent gaze, well known in the community for being a dedicated guide dog. Max was the loyal companion of Clara, a young blind woman who lived alone in an apartment downtown. Always obedient and well-trained, Max seemed agitated and anxious, a rare expression for him. With his collar worn from time, the dog barked insistently, as if trying to communicate something urgent. Lucas, intrigued by the animal's presence, immediately sensed that something was wrong. Max continued to bark and pull his leash in the opposite direction of the station, clearly trying to lead Lucas somewhere. Lucas, recognizing the urgency in the dog's behavior, decided to follow him, trusting in the animal's instinctive intelligence. They ran through the rain-soaked streets as Max led the way with precision. As they advanced, the distant sound of emergency sirens and flashes of blue lights heightened the tension. Finally, they arrived at an old building partially destroyed by a landslide caused by the heavy rain. It was the building where Clara lived. Lucas's heart raced, fearing the worst. Max ran directly to the rubble, barking with an intensity Lucas had never seen before. The dog began digging frantically at a specific spot, his movements quick and determined. Lucas, understanding the message, grabbed a flashlight and started helping Max, removing the debris with his hands. The sound of the storm seemed distant now, muffled by concentration and the desire to find Clara. Every second was crucial, and Lucas knew someone's life could depend on his speed. Max continued to dig, guided by his keen sense of smell, determined to reach his owner. With Max's help, Lucas managed to open a small space in the debris and saw Clara, partially buried but conscious. She was scared but relieved to hear her dog's familiar voice and feel Lucas's presence. "Clara, we're going to get you out of here," Lucas shouted, trying to reassure her. He immediately grabbed his radio and called for reinforcements, describing the situation and the urgent need for equipment to safely remove the debris. Max stayed close to Clara, licking her face in an effort to comfort her, while Lucas tried to keep her awake and conscious. Lucas's colleagues arrived quickly at the scene, bringing the necessary tools for the rescue operation. With precision and coordination, they began carefully removing the debris trapping Clara. Time seemed to drag as Lucas, Max, and the other firefighters worked tirelessly, each playing a crucial role. The storm continued to roar outside, but within that small bubble of human effort, there was an unwavering determination to save a life. Finally, after an exhausting effort, they managed to free Clara. She was carefully placed on a stretcher and transported to the ambulance, with Max faithfully by her side. Lucas felt a deep relief, knowing the worst was over, but also aware that there was still much to be done. With Clara safe, the firefighters began scouring the building for other possible victims. Visibility was extremely low due to the intense rain and lack of adequate lighting. The firefighters' lanterns illuminated only small areas, while shadows and indistinct forms moved around them. The debris was widespread, making navigation difficult. The concrete rubble and twisted metal formed a dangerous maze, making the rescue mission even more challenging. The sound of rain and wind competed with the firefighters' voices as they tried to coordinate their efforts amidst the chaos. In the midst of the confusion, Max began behaving even more insistently. He ran toward a specific spot among the rubble and started digging frantically with his paws, raising dust and debris. Clara, still scared but confident in her dog's ability, urged the firefighters to follow Max. Follow Max. He knows what he's doing, Clara exclaimed, her voice filled with urgency. Lucas, who had already witnessed the animal's intelligence, nodded and led the team to where Max was, aware that the dog might have found something crucial. Following Max's lead, the firefighters arrived at a spot where the debris was particularly dense. After digging a bit, they found Sophie, a young woman trapped and unconscious, partially covered by concrete pieces. Her face was pale and her breathing was weak, indicating that time was of the essence. Sophie was in a difficult position, with her arms and legs pinned in a way that made any immediate removal attempt challenging. The situation required a careful and precise approach to avoid worsening her injuries. But before we continue, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you love animals and their fascinating stories. The firefighter team faced a formidable challenge. The structure around Sophie was extremely unstable, with concrete pieces hanging dangerously, threatening to collapse at any moment. The slightest vibration could cause additional collapse, putting both Sophie and the firefighters at risk. Lucas and his colleagues worked quickly but with extreme caution, using specialized tools to remove the debris without causing further collapse. Each movement was calculated and executed with precision as the tension in the air increased. Max, sensing the imminent danger, continued to bark and point to a specific spot in the debris, warning of the risk of additional collapse. He seemed to understand the gravity of the situation, and his ability to communicate with the firefighters was astonishing. Lucas, observing the dog's behavior, realized that Max was indicating a crucial support that needed stabilization. "Max is showing us something important," Lucas told Captain John, pointing to the area Max indicated. Captain John, an experienced and respected leader, immediately took command of the rescue operation. He organized his team to stabilize the structure and safely remove Sophie. Using wooden stakes and hydraulic jacks, the firefighters worked to reinforce the most fragile points around Sophie. The teamwork was impeccable, with each firefighter playing their role in a coordinated manner. Max watched intently, as if understanding the complexity of what was happening. Communication among the team members was constant, ensuring that every move was synchronized. After a tense and exhausting operation, the firefighters finally managed to free Sophie from the rubble. She was carefully placed on a stretcher and taken to the ambulance, with Lucas and Max by her side, ensuring she was safe. The relief was palpable among the firefighters, knowing they had saved another life. Sophie was quickly transported to the hospital, where she would receive the necessary medical care. Max, exhausted but clearly satisfied with the result, stayed by Lucas's side, his intelligent gaze reflecting his understanding of his crucial role in the rescue. With Sophie on her way to the hospital, the atmosphere at the rescue site began to calm down. Clara, with tears in her eyes, warmly thanked each firefighter for their effort and dedication. "You saved my friend's life," she said, hugging Lucas with gratitude. The firefighters, visibly relieved and emotional, exchanged looks of mutual satisfaction, knowing their hard work had paid off. Sophie, though still unconscious, received first aid in the ambulance, while Max, the hero of the night, stayed by her side, attentively watching the paramedics. As the firefighters prepared to leave the site, Captain John approached Max and Clara. He observed the dog with a curious look and then, as if a light bulb went off in his mind, recognized Max. "This dog. I know him," John said in surprise. "He was a rescue dog I trained a few years ago. I retired him when he started to age." Clara, astonished, looked at Max with newfound admiration. "No wonder he knew exactly what to do," she replied, stroking the dog's head. The revelation about Max's past created an even stronger bond between him and Clara. She felt there was something special about Max, something that connected her to him in an inexplicable way. "I can't leave him here alone," Clara thought, feeling a growing responsibility for Max. She decided to take him home temporarily until she found the original owner, or someone willing to adopt him. "You're safe with me, Max," she promised as he followed her closely, seeming to understand every word. At the hospital, Sophie began to recover slowly. Still fragile and traumatized, Her first moments of consciousness were marked by a mix of relief and confusion. The doctors worked tirelessly to stabilize her, while Clara and Max anxiously waited for news. "She's strong," one of the doctors told Clara, "but she'll need time and support to fully recover." Clara held Sophie's hand, promising to be by her side throughout the recovery process. Meanwhile, the firefighters and police began an investigation to determine the cause of the accident. An initial inspection of Sophie's car revealed a severe mechanical failure, likely responsible for the crash. "We need to determine if it was a manufacturing defect or lack of maintenance," one officer commented. The discovery brought a new sense of urgency and responsibility, not just to find the origin of the problem, but also to prevent future similar accidents. Clara closely followed the investigation, determined to understand what had happened to her friend. Meanwhile, Clara and Captain John shared stories about their pasts and the importance of rescue dogs. John recounted many successful rescues Max had participated in during his career. "He was always a hero," John said with a nostalgic smile. Clara, in turn, spoke about how she found Max and how he had helped save Sophie. "He's more than just a dog," she said. "He's a true friend and protector." The stories created a bond of respect and mutual admiration between Clara and John. Inspired by the stories and Max's bravery, Clara decided to do everything she could to help him find his original owner. She knew someone out there must be missing him. "But if we can't find him," Clara thought, "Max will have a permanent home with me." Determined, she began developing a plan to track down Max's old owner, using social media and John's contacts. "We'll find the right place for you, Max," she said as he wagged his tail, showing his trust in her. Determined to find Max's former owner, Clara enlisted Captain John's help to start a detailed search. They began by examining old records and social media posts, sharing Max's story and his heroic act on various platforms. The local community also got involved, sharing Max and Clara's story and offering clues and information. The joint effort reflected Max's impact on everyone around him, and the search became a collective mission to find where he truly belonged. Days later, while Clara was reviewing comments on one of the posts about Max, her phone rang. On the other end of the line, an emotional voice identified himself as Miguel, Max's former owner. He explained that he had lost Max during a move, and despite all efforts, had never been able to find him. Upon seeing the posts, he immediately recognized his beloved rescue dog. Clara felt a mix of joy and sadness upon hearing Miguel's story, knowing she was about to close an important chapter in Max's life. Miguel wasted no time and traveled immediately to the city to reunite with Max. The meeting was full of emotion. Upon seeing Miguel, Max wagged his tail vigorously and ran towards him, barking happily. Miguel knelt and hugged Max tightly, tears streaming down his face. "I've missed you so much," he whispered. Clara, watching the scene with tearful eyes, felt a mixture of joy and pain. It was clear that Max was happy to see Miguel again, but it was also evident that he had found a new family with Clara. After the reunion, Miguel spent some time talking with Clara. He was impressed with the special connection she and Max had developed. "I've never seen Max so happy and healthy," Miguel said. "You've clearly taken great care of him." Miguel then made a generous and difficult offer. He asked Clara if she would like to keep Max permanently. "I know he's in good hands with you," he said. Clara, surprised and emotional, realized that her life was already intrinsically linked to Max's. With tears in her eyes, she accepted the offer, promising Miguel that Max would always have a loving home. The decision was made. Clara would officially adopt Max, but Miguel promised to visit often and keep in touch. Max would now have two homes full of love and care. The news was received with joy by everyone, and Clara began the legal preparations for the official adoption. "You're part of our family now, Max," she said, hugging him. The dog, as if understanding the significance of the moment, licked Clara's face with gratitude and happiness. The city decided to organize a small ceremony to honor Max, Clara, and the firefighters for their bravery and dedication during the rescue. It was a simple but meaningful event held in the town square. The mayor presented a special medal to Max, while Clara and the firefighters received certificates of recognition. "This is a small gesture to express our gratitude," the mayor said. The community applauded, celebrating the courage and spirit of unity that had marked the recent events. Sometime later on a sunny afternoon, Clara, Max, and Sophie walked together in the park. Sophie, now recovered, laughed as Max ran around, playing with other dogs. Clara watched the scene with a smile on her face, reflecting on how that fateful day had changed their lives forever. Who would have thought that a tragedy could bring us together in such a profound way? She thought. The friendship between them had solidified, and they all knew that, regardless of future challenges, they would always have each other. As the sun set, Max lay down beside Clara, both at peace, savoring the tranquility of a new beginning together. Thank you for watching this incredible story of courage and loyalty. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and leave your like so you don't miss any of our exciting stories. See you next time.